Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today we are gonna do the worst makeup I tried throughout the entire year of 2018. I not only went back through all of my old videos and looked at, okay, not all of them, that'd be insane, but looked through a lot of my like worst of videos and best of worst of and kind of collected those. And then I looked at ones that I don't even think I've mentioned yet that I have in a bin in my room. And then I also tweeted out to you guys and asked, what do you remember me telling you in videos that I didn't like? Like what stuck out to you guys? So it's a lot. I'm gonna get ready with some of them because I thought it'd be fun to just try them one more time. Maybe I'll change my mind. It's highly doubtful. I don't have enough for a full face, so I'll probably pop in and out, doing some other things with regular products that I know I like. But a lot of these I've decluttered, so I'll just put the picture on the screen when that's the case, because obviously if I didn't like it, I got rid of it. So if you enjoy this style of video, I hope that you will subscribe and definitely check me out on my social media, which is JamBeauty89 everywhere, and let's go ahead and get into it. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, a lot of foundations that I tried this year that I hated. So, a concealer, a powder. So we actually have a decent amount for a full face now that I'm kind of looking back at it. So I'm gonna throw a primer on because I don't have one here to mention that I didn't like, and then I'll be right back. So before I throw foundation on, I figured I would talk about my least favorite lip balm of the year because I'm gonna put it on. It's the Too Faced Peach Lip Balm. I love the smell. Hold on, I'm out of breath. I can't pretend that I didn't just run downstairs, eat some cheese, and run back up. I just felt like this wasn't great. You know what I mean? There's so many lip balms, especially lip balms at the drugstore that are way cheaper than this, that are better as well. So it's like, why spend the money, Unless it's some kind of life-changing lip balm, you don't need to spend the money. So this was one that I just wasn't impressed with. I don't think it's awful, but I don't think it's great. And again, if you are interested in seeing any of my picks for drugstore, I have that video up, I will link below, and I also have my high-end version up. A lot of drugstore products I loved more than high-end products throughout the year, and so like you'll see in my high-end video, there were a lot of times that I said I didn't have a high-end favorite for the year because the drugstore one was better, and why force it and why tell you guys about a product that's more expensive when I really think the cheaper version is better. So anyway, I'll link both of those videos below. I was very proud of those, but anyway, let's go, Jess, come on. So one of the coverage products I didn't like this year was from CoverGirl. It's their True Blend Pre-Touching Palette. And it has these 3 shades, and the idea is that you can kind of color correct with them. I just didn't think they did anything. So I have a little bit of redness on my nose, like at all times. So I tried this on my nose, and I have tried it a couple ways, but I tend to use these kinds of products by just pressing it into my nose in hopes that it will kind of keep some of the redness down. And then I would cover that with foundation, right? I just felt like it didn't do anything. Like in the end, if you put on a decent amount like this, you can kind of see it. And if you don't put on enough, it really doesn't do anything. So I couldn't find a good common ground. And I'm even gonna use this with a higher coverage foundation. So this was a dud to me. I think it's not worth the extra step. If you're really wanting to color correct, honestly, that's not my thing. Like I really just don't, other than just obviously concealer. So I would say this is not a good option for that. Maybe look elsewhere because it just doesn't do much. So the foundation I'm gonna use to put on top of this is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. This was one that I just didn't like. I have normal to dry skin, and I felt like it really emphasized my dryness throughout the day, and it was very full coverage, but it just didn't look good on the skin. It just kind of looked dry. I'm using this shade, by the way, 1.5. Oh no, that's 1.3. I might as well mix these. They're both way too light. 1.3 is slightly pinker, 1.5 is slightly yellower, but they're very, very light. So I'm gonna apply this as I tell you about it. High coverage, very not cute for dry skin. So obviously this is way too light for me, but I don't have anything to mix it with currently. I really don't, unless I did a whole new foundation, but that defeats the fun of getting ready with products I don't like. Look how high the coverage is though. It totally covered my nose. I mean, it really does. So if you can find your shade match, and maybe if you have oily skin, but I feel like I remember some of you guys saying that you have oily skin and you still didn't like this. So my biggest gripe was it emphasized any texture I had on my face, any dryness. It just looked bad. So you can see it definitely covers though. I can't deny that it does that. So other foundations I didn't like this year, I'll just put on the screen because I've already decluttered them. The Marc Jacobs Shameless foundation, here's a picture of it. This was sent to me in PR, and it would just sit on top of my skin. Like I felt like I would try it with a sponge and a brush and my fingers. I could not get it to actually blend in with my skin, and I know a lot of people didn't like it as well. Another one that a lot of you guys pointed out on Twitter is the Flesh Thick Stick little stick foundation. Ugh. I tried a bunch of Flesh Beauty. I really wasn't impressed with a lot of it. There were a few products I liked and that I still use, but if you want to see my like best and worst of Flesh Beauty, me trying it all on, I will link that below. It was fun to try a new brand. I love doing that, but this one was one that I was really underwhelmed by. And that, again, that stick really emphasized dryness. So, and I really haven't heard a lot of people loving it. You know what I mean? I haven't heard a lot of positive feedback, like maybe, again, if you have a different skin type from me. It sounds like it's kind of across the board. A lot of people don't like it. But on top of that, it's 18 bucks and it's teeny tiny. It comes with hardly any product. So it's like, what are you paying for? You know what I mean? It just, that really rubbed me the wrong way. Also, the names of the products are kind of gross and that just grosses me out. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the effectiveness of the product, but just worth noting. This was a year of finding a lot of foundations that just weren't for me. Was the Laura Mercier foundation that I think it's their Flawless Fusion foundation. I know people here on YouTube love it. It was too much for me. Like, again, it's high coverage, but all of the shades were very, very yellow, so I couldn't find anywhere near what I needed shade-wise. Of course, I'm saying that with a literal white ghost face right now. Anyway, but I couldn't get down with it. I didn't like it. Again, it emphasized dryness, and it just didn't look good on my skin. I wish I could make it work because I know so many people love it, but I just didn't. So that was another one I figured I'd mention. So the concealer I'm gonna put on that I didn't like this year is the Revlon Photo Ready Candid. I actually am a huge fan of the Revlon Photo Ready Candid kind of foundation that they have. It's in a bigger tube than this, of course, and it's a squeezy tube, but it has a pump, and I actually was very impressed with that. I've used it a ton lately. But this concealer, sorry, my doggy is wandering around looking for a sun patch to lay in. This one, it just didn't cover enough. Now, again, I have foundation already covering a lot, so it's super yellow. This is the shade Light, number 15. It's like orange almost in this lighting, weird. But I loved the idea behind this line, and the idea was that it was antioxidant, anti-blue light, anti-pollution, but I just felt like no matter how I applied this throughout the day, it didn't stay where I put it, and that's, I mean, a huge no-no. With concealer, it needs to stay there, or else why put it on? You know what I mean? Like, if my lips fade, I can reapply that easily, but concealer's not as easy to reapply throughout the day if you set it with powder and all that stuff, because then you're putting concealer over powder, and it's not as... So for me, I need a concealer that's gonna stay, and even when I would use like the Revlon powder with it, it still didn't look good. So again, not terrible coverage considering I already had that really high coverage foundation in that area, but the doe foot's kind of interesting on this too. It's like fatter, it's a fatter paddle than most concealers I've tried, but I just wasn't impressed. I'm gonna try to make this look decent. I feel like a lot of us on YouTube, we like to sensationalize things and we like to make things look worse if it's something we said we hated. I'm gonna try to make these work because the reality is, really none of these are so bad that it's like embarrassing. Like, you know what I mean? But there's so much better out there that I could never recommend these. I've been using this sponge a ton. This L'Oreal one is my favorite, but my least favorite of the year, and I feel bad saying this because there's so much drama around this darn sponge, the Juno & Co. sponge. That's that kind of velvety sponge. I got it a long time ago, they sent to me, and I tried it once and I was like, nope. Tried it again with a different foundation, I was like, nope. I don't get how people are using it. I can't figure it out. It does not work. Like, it doesn't work for me. And I know it's really cheap, and that's why I was like, I want to like this. I want to be able to recommend it. I know other YouTubers like it. I need to know their secrets. I genuinely do. I've already decluttered that, which is why I don't have it to use. Otherwise, I would totally use it right now to show you that I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I want to know what are the secrets other people are doing with that. Tell me, seriously, tell me. All right, we are gonna set all of this so that it actually stays in place, and we're gonna use my least favorite powder of the year. This is the Revlon Photo Ready Candid. I hated this powder. Now, I'm not a big loose powder person as it is. I know that. I went into this knowing that, but my favorite one is actually from the drugstore, and again, you can watch my drugstore video, my favorites of 2018, to find out what it is. I didn't even have a high-end powder favorite because I tried like 6 high-end loose powders and I liked the drugstore version better. But this one I did not think was good. However, I did love the packaging where it's got the thing to kind of close the sifter so it's not just flying everywhere. I love that. I wish that my favorite drugstore one was packaged like this. That would be amazing. I'm just gonna use a brush because like I said, I wanna try to make this look work my best. So I'm gonna use a brush because when I put this on with the Velour Puff, it's like even whiter than I already am, okay? And it's, oh gosh, it just makes my skin, like I feel like it sets the powder okay, but I notice a lot of movement in the foundations I've worn with this, different foundations, more so than I normally would, even when I don't set those foundations. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird. It was really weird. So I just don't think this is the best one out there. I felt like it really, instead of kind of smoothing the area, I think it tended to emphasize dryness while smoothing the area, whereas my other one that I love smooths the area, but it really doesn't emphasize dryness anywhere near as much as this. And again, I don't think this helps actually set the makeup. I feel like my makeup moved all around. Really weird. Again, I love the thought process behind this line, but I didn't love the actual powder. So really quickly, a primer, again, I don't have, I decluttered. See, this next year, I'm gonna keep everything that I really didn't like so that next year I can get ready with all of it, because I kind of regret it because I would love to be able to put all of this on. But the primer I didn't like this year was the YSL All Hours primer. I got it for free through Octoly long ago. And it was just in this black container, and you'd shake it up, and it was a really thin, liquidy primer. And I think it had some SPF, but it had not a great smell, and I just didn't feel like it did anything. I'm like, if I'm just in it for SPF, I'll just get an actual SPF moisturizer that has a higher SPF rating. But this one, I just felt like I would smooth it on my face, and it just kind of made it whiter and didn't really prolong the wear of my foundation. And that's really what I'm wanting from a primer. I'm wanting it to prolong the wear, but I also want it to make my skin look nice and moisturized. And I also didn't feel like it made it look nice and moisturized. And it's so expensive. So I figured I wanted to mention that in case you're looking at it. Are they even still selling it? I don't know, but I did not like that. All right, I'm gonna quickly do my brows. I feel like I did have a brow product I didn't like, but I couldn't think of it, and I combed through my videos and I'm like, what was it that I really didn't like? I'm gonna use my favorite drugstore brow pencil that again is in that video really fast, and I'll be right back. I know I'm being such a tease about my other videos, but it's part of my job. All right, my least favorite, well, one of my least favorite like products for the face, like powders and stuff, that's not making any sense. This is a blush and highlight palette from Naked. No, from Urban Decay, their Naked line. What am I even talking about anymore? It's the Naked Cherry. I did a whole video on this, the entire collection. I can link below if you want to see all of them in action. I'm going to show you this one in action though. This was one of my least favorite products. The blush was okay. This highlighter was probably the nicest part of it, right? But it's this weird white powder that's like flaky, and it's got glitter, and it's, I don't know. I couldn't understand the price point of this palette when I think about all of the other things you could spend that money on that are amazing. I thought that this was a complete dud. Like I said, there are some products that are okay. I'm gonna show you. The blush, I feel like it's a little deeper than I would typically use for my skin tone, but I just kind of tap some off, and I think it looks fine, you know? But again, it's the price point. But I feel like even if, now that I'm saying that out loud, I feel like if I found this in the drugstore and I swatched this one, I'd be like, oh, okay, the blush. And then once I'd swatch this, I'd be like, ooh, nope, gross. But like I said, I think the blush can actually look pretty nice, especially when you have way too light of a foundation on. So I am gonna show you this white powder. Ugh, I don't wanna put it on my face, but I will. It's kind of got an iridescent-ish quality to it. It's just patchy. Like, I feel like you can kind of see it, but I saw it in daylight when I wore this, and I was like, no, no, no. Like, it looked so textured and gross on my skin. I feel like it's actually looking okay in this lighting though, know what I mean? But again, this kind of lighting can be perfecting in some ways. In other ways, it does not hide your flaws. But anyway, it's okay, right? I like this highlighter way better, but I just don't think this is worth the money. Really, I don't think they did a great job with this, okay? Okay. So I'm realizing I don't have bronzer, so I'm gonna toss some on because I feel like this lightness is just too light. One lesson I want to impart here is, and it's one that I'm kind of learning as I'm going literally today, is that, you know, products that someone doesn't like me, I'm saying I don't like any of these products. They're gonna be gone out of my collection. Clean start for 2019 in my little bin of like things I didn't like. And I can still make these products work. And I'm not a makeup artist. I mean, that's the beauty of makeup. You know, if you buy something from the drugstore or Sephora and you're like, ooh, like that was not, I did not like that. Most people that aren't hoarders like me, and probably you are, like if you're watching, you know, people that love makeup and collect a lot of it, Most people will buy it and be like, ooh, I don't really like this blush, but they're still gonna use it up because that's the way that most people live their life, you know what I mean? And that's a good thing. And so, you know, even though I'm mentioning all these products that I don't like, I'm able to say I don't like them, I don't need to make them work because of what my job is, reviewing makeup. You know, but just keep in mind that just because something's terrible doesn't mean you have to get rid of it. You can totally keep it and use it up. A lot of times these products I don't like, I'll pass on to a sister or a friend, and they'll text me and be like, oh my gosh, that one foundation from NYX that you gave me, I love it, it's so amazing, it covers all my redness. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I'm thinking, I hated it. I wonder if they saw my video. But that's the beauty of makeup too. Like, it all works differently on everyone, and probably thank goodness that it does. I don't know. All right, we're gonna move on to eyes. I have quite a few. I have some that I don't have in front of me and others that I do. So we're gonna get ready with some. Ugh, I'm seeing one that I don't know that I wanna use. Let me throw an eye primer on real fast though. So the two I currently have that I am gonna put on my eyes, I have the Dose of Colors Baked Browns. This one makes me sad. This one, and I also want to mention the Marvelous Mauves. I don't know what it is about these particular 5-pan palettes that Dose of Colors comes out with, but I find them to be really hard to work with. They're really, really pigmented, like insanely soft and pigmented. I can't get them to blend for anything. Look how pigmented those are. Amazing. But every time I try to blend them, it just looks muddy, and either they just completely blend together and all of the colors look the same, or they just don't blend together. It's like I put it on no matter what. I do all of my normal eyeshadow tricks I do with every other palette, but for some reason it doesn't work with this. So I don't know. I feel like if this is your only palette, again, you would make it work. It's still pigmented, but if you're trying to get anything blended, I don't know. I can't make this one work. I couldn't make the Marvelous Mauves one. And you guys know I freaking love Dose of Colors. Their lip glosses are my fave. So I might use a couple from this. And also this doesn't close. My Marvelous Mauves one didn't have this problem, but this one does. The other one I have in front of me is from Lila B. This is a really expensive brand. They sent me a couple of things. I'm probably off their PR list because I didn't love a lot. I did love, there was like a cream highlighter that I freaking love. I've heard good things about other products of theirs. I just haven't tried it, but I'm betting they took me off their PR list. This is one of their eyeshadow quads. It's called their Be Stunning Palette Perfection Eye Quad. I think Be Stunning is the name of the quad. I just wasn't impressed with this. It wasn't terrible, but for this insane price tag, I thought, who did they think they are? Who do they think they are? So expensive. So, and again, I thought the shadows were fine, but not worth the price tag that it carries. So I'm gonna use a little of all of this. Maybe I'll use, let's start with this like light color. I'm just gonna kind of, whoa, it's like very yellow. I kind of like it actually. I'm gonna put that kind of towards my brow bone. You see it's so powdery, like powder flies everywhere. I actually did like this shade in it. I'm only gonna use one shade in this. Maybe I'll use the dark for like my lower lash line. But I'm gonna use this kind of medium-ish brown for my crease. I feel like I can't get across the way it's not blending. Like it's there, I can't move it. Now luckily my placement's okay, so it's not that big of a deal, but I don't know. I don't know, y'all. So let's look at the Lila B palette, and I wanted to talk, I have my list over here. I wanted to talk a few other palettes that I didn't like this year, but I've already decluttered, and I'll put pictures on the screen. So one of them is the Naked Cherry palette. It wasn't the worst palette in the world, again, but I just didn't think it was great. You know what I mean? Like, again, hefty price tag, and the Naked line from Urban Decay. Yeah, see, like, I feel like this does not pack very much of a punch. Kind of like this color though, but hefty price tag for Naked, the Naked line of Urban Decay, all of Urban Decay. But Urban Decay has been pounding out collections and palettes, and I'm like, no, like, stop. Slow down. Focus on the products you're launching, and I feel like they're not, a lot of brands are just not putting in the time anymore. They're like, let's just do a bunch of limited edition stuff, or let's just churn them out. People keep buying them. And I love that so many of us are moving towards more of an anti-consumerist mindset. Just because A, I think that's healthy, but B, it has gotten a little out of hand, right? I mean, I know not for everyone, obviously, and not everyone can afford that, but it's crazy. And that's one goal of mine for this next year is so lots of fallout, which it's not that deep. A lot of shadows have fallout, and I'm the monster that does my face makeup first. Does anyone else do their face makeup? That's just the way I do it. I don't know. So it looks okay. I can't really get any of these to blend very well. It's doing okay. I'm gonna use this sort of shimmery shade here. And also one complaint I have about this is it's really hard to just get the color you want. Like I like to use my finger for my lid shadow, almost always, and I keep getting that brown in it because I guess I have monster fingers. It's just okay. It's just okay. I can get a normal Jessie look with them, but they're not really fun to use. They're not fun to apply. And I just wasn't a big fan. So the other one I've recently mentioned is the Dior Backstage palette. I only tried the warm one, and I just realized after using it a few times, I'm like, you know what? This is not a good palette. Like the shimmers don't really have anything. Like they're not really that shimmery. They're almost like a satin. And then the mattes were just okay. The blending was okay. But again, for that price point, I'm like, what are we paying for, right? Like this just feels like a not great cheap palette for something that you're paying a lot of money for. So I just wasn't a fan. Another one, I was going back through my old Ulta and Sephora orders from all of 2018 and looking at all the stuff I bought and reflecting. And I realized that I bought this Tarte Make Magic Happen palette just on a whim. Just saw it, I'm like, oh, that's very neutrally and light. That's what I like. So I bought it, used it like 3 times and was like, this is awful. I think I actually returned that one. I very rarely return things. Very rarely. And boy, if you mention you return something on YouTube, the hounds come out and eat you alive. I don't return a lot. I buy a lot and I take the hit for my YouTube business, but every once in a while, if I try something that I think is so awful after like 1 or 2 times, I'll return it. So like this year, I think that was the only thing I returned out of the lot of money that I spent at Sephora and Ulta. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But it was so not great. Like it's like I could not get any of the color onto my lid. It was the wildest thing. And again, not a cheap palette. So definitely don't recommend that one for sure. I'm gonna put a little bit of one of these on my lower lash line. I'll use the deep brown. Wish me luck. Actually, this is not bad because again, I'm not really needing to blend. I'm just putting a little bit. Last palette I'm gonna mention was from Neutrogena. I very rarely buy things from Neutrogena. Not really for any reason, I just have never really drawn that much to a lot of the products. There are products of theirs I do like the Neutrogena lip balm in like a square packaging. I loved that. I'm almost out of it and I'll probably buy it again. I really liked that. And like their Hydra foundation, I liked that one too. I don't think I still have it because I wasn't reaching for it, but I liked it. So I don't think the whole brand is a dud, but this Kerry Washington palette, I was so excited about. I'm like, yes, they're collaborating with some celebrities and I really like Kerry Washington. So I bought the palette, it's like a 5-pan palette. There was no pigmentation, like at all. I was so unimpressed the more I used it. I don't know, how do products like that get through? Like, did she actually get to try it or I don't know. I still love Kerry Washington. I'm just saying, I didn't really like the palette. I thought it wasn't pigmented. The colors didn't really show up and it was just a huge dud. Again, there are better palettes at the drugstore. To find out my favorite, well, you know where to look. So liner, I did have a liner I hated this year from CoverGirl. It's their Ink It liner. It was this retractable one. It's a really thick, I like thinner eyeliners. So that's my own thing. But I just like, I would try to warm it up and I'm like, okay, it's black, it's ready to go. So then I'd go in to line my eyes and I would feel like I couldn't get it to go where I wanted it. Like I'd go and accidentally go outside the line. I'm like, and that never happens to me with other liners because I'd be pushing so hard to get this to work. I know that you can do like different tricks, like, oh, hit it with a blow dryer, put it between, like I've heard of people putting it like in their bra, like to warm it up, seriously, or in your armpit. But I'm like, you know what? Again, there's so many better eyeliners at the drugstore. Why? You know, unless you have one you're trying to use it up, which I totally get that. And honestly, this is one that with black eyeliner, I go through it so quickly, I probably will use this up just because, again, it's a black liner, it gets the job done. I just don't enjoy using it and I think there's way better out there. So I wouldn't waste your money on it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I know that I had mascaras I wasn't a big fan of, but I don't have any to put on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on one of my favorite mascaras while I tell you about other products I didn't like. So another product I didn't like this year was it was from Givenchy. Again, it was sent to me. So thankful I didn't spend the money. And it was this really weird, like 2-toned lipstick. Now, I have liked two-tone lipsticks. Like there are these ones from Laneige, they even still sell them, that I actually really liked that were two tones and they were more like wearable for me, kind of like pinks and nudes. And the two tones, like you could have the darker tone on the outside to kind of look like it's almost like an ombre, like lining your lips. Some people would flip it and do it on the inside. But this Givenchy one had black and red. And I don't know how to use that. I mean, I tried it both ways and I was cracking up putting it on. I'm like, it's just not my style. The lipstick itself was fine, but I thought it was just kind of funny, and why not mention it here since we're talking about products I didn't really like this year. That was one that I remembered opening it and being like all excited that it was from Givenchy and then giggling like, wow, I will never be able to use this. So let's talk lips. I had quite a few. The first lip product I was very unimpressed by most of them was the, I feel bad like I'm roasting CoverGirl. I'm not. You guys know I love a lot of CoverGirl products. I did a recent best and worst of CoverGirl video, and there are a lot that became like holy grail, so I'll link that video if you want to watch it. Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, these are their exhibitionist lip liners. There were a couple shades that were pretty good, but most of them were awful. They were like dry, not pigmented, and I'm like, well, that's the exact opposite of what I want in a lip liner. So we're gonna use one of these today. What am I wearing? Green, dark green. Maybe we'll go with like a, I've been really into berry lately, so maybe we'll go, but I think the berry one was actually one of the ones that was okay. This one's marvelous. Let me see if this was one of the ones. Yeah, this is one of the ones that was really, really weirdly light. Let's use it just for fun. So, yeah, it's so light. Now, could I possibly use this and do like kind of more of a true ombre lip? Sure. I mean, I think there'd be some use for this, but again, I have a favorite drugstore lip liner, and this ain't it. This ain't it. It's just not very, like if I'm wearing a berry lip, I need like a berry lip liner. So it's okay. And most of them are like this, so that's why I was kind of unimpressed. I did like the shape of the liner though. It's kind of, it's like oblique, if you will. So I was not a big fan of this lip gloss. I know you're gonna be surprised. It's from Becca, and it was the Chrissy Teigen gloss, and I was so excited. It's minty, which I don't mind. It's got some decent color, but I just didn't really like the way it felt on my lips. I can't put it on now because I've got this lip gloss on, but I don't know. Have any of you guys tried this and like loved it? Because I just didn't. And I've tried another Becca gloss, I wanna say like a year or two ago, and again, it was the same thing. I just didn't like the way it felt really sticky on my lips, and I know that I don't like a sticky lip gloss. And I just, like, I felt like my lips felt drier throughout the day. And again, when you found the best lip gloss that's ever existed, you start to get really picky about other lip glosses you try, because you're like, well, no, why waste my time with this when there's this one out there that does the complete opposite and is way better. So I was unimpressed. I used this about 4 times and I just put it in that bin over there because I was like, I really don't like it. I was so sad because I bought it with my money and it wasn't cheap. Another big dud were these CoverGirl Katy Cat glosses. Who approved these? That's what I said in the original video I talked about. Who approved these to be made? These are awful. I mean, come on, the cute little cat faces. Like, I wanted to love these. I was pulling for these, but these have, you have to like, nothing gets on the brush. So then you're putting like, you're dipping in like 8 times just to kind of get your lips covered. And then again, they're this weird consistency. It's not comfortable at all to wear. I just did not like these. I can't wait to be done with these. So I know a lot of people really liked the CoverGirl lipsticks. I was not a fan. I think the cream ones are okay. Like this one's Honeyed Bloom and it's really, really creamy. So if you're gonna try one of their lipsticks, I vote go for the ones that say cream on it because I think those are really creamy. But they're like metallic ones. I was like, I don't like. Like this one has straight silver glitter in it. Didn't really like that. This one was okay. This was a demi matte. And again, that's another line that I think is slightly worthy of trying. Like this shade in particular, I did like. It was in the shade Worthy. So those, they're okay. But I think as a whole, when you're looking for metallic ones, this was the one that I was like, absolutely not. Should we put it on? Let's put it on. I'm gonna hate this. It's gonna have to come off after I'm done filming. I mean, they're pigmented, I'll give it that. But you can feel the granules of glitter. Like you can feel it. So I wanna hop on my Twitter. If you want to follow me, it's GMBeauty89. And I want to see what else you guys said. So if I missed anything that's definitely worth mentioning, I want to mention it now because I figured that would be fun. I've already told the Kat Von D freaking liquid lip saga story in my drugstore video, but I also grew to not like the Kat Von D liquid lip as much. That's all I'm gonna say. My goodness. A lot of you guys mentioned the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation or the Flesh Thick Stick. I hate that name. I grew to not like the Wet n Wild catsuit lips as much because again, they were so drying and I felt like, okay, the more and more I use this, the more my lips are looking more and more awful. I would rather just put on a regular lipstick because again, that's just another liquid lip that's super drying. Do I think they're crazy pigmented and stay on? Yes. If that's what you're looking for and you're trying to save a buck and maybe you're only gonna wear it sometimes, go for it because it does stay in place. But just keep in mind, it's really, really drying because it does stay in place so well. A lot of you guys nailed it. The two-tone red and black Givenchy lipstick, the Dose of Colors eyeshadow palettes, the Marc Jacobs Shameless foundation, the Urban Decay Cherry palette. I'm quite predictable. So those were the main things you guys mentioned. Like I said, you guys know me a little bit too well. It's a little freaky. So I'm gonna go wipe this lip product off. Honestly, like I said, the lesson here is you can make products work. None of it is that big of a deal. Now, do I think every single product can be made work? No. Sometimes you'll try one and be like, wow, this like literally doesn't work. But like the eye look, I think it's fine. It's very much an eye look that I do every single day. I made the eyeshadows work and it wasn't that big of a deal. But again, when comparing to other ones that are better and are easier to work with and are more fun to put on, then that's when these get shoved into that bin of things I don't really like. So I hope this makes sense. I hope it wasn't too negative, but I know I freaking love watching these worst stuff videos. Like, a little bit too much. It's like sick world we live in. So I hope you enjoyed. If you want to check out my best of drugstore and high-end, as I mentioned 10,000 times in this video, I will link both down below. I hope to see you through all of 2019. I have so many big ideas, big plans. I'm now doing this full time, and so I'm devoting a lot more effort and energy into learning more about editing. That's why my videos, the quality, in my opinion, is getting better. My very humble opinion, I've been working really hard. Hopefully the lighting was slightly better in this video. I know I keep going. Guys, I have done so much freaking research on lighting lately. It haunts my dreams. And so I'm trying to make it work with the lighting that I have because I don't want to spend the money yet. I have lighting that I spent a lot of money on not that long ago. So I'm trying to make this work before I just go and uphaul and spend a whole bunch of more money because I think that we live in a culture where, you know, it's a throwaway culture. If something doesn't work, like I was talking about with these, we give it away or throw it away. When really, there's nothing wrong with these lights. I just need to get the settings on my camera right. I'm going way in too deep with this. I guess what I'm saying is this year I want to be better about using what I have, using and loving, you know, products. Of course, for me, I'm always going to be trying out new things. That's my job. But I want to be better about, you know, using something up all the way before opening, you know, another, like for example, skincare. If I have a moisturizer open, I don't need 5 moisturizers open. I want to use 1 or 2, maybe 1 in the morning, 1 at night, use those all the way up before I open a new one. So those kinds of things are my goals for the year. Curious, what are your goals? If you watch all the way to the end, dang, put this little emoji that's on the screen, use that down below because that's going to tell me you watched to the end. I can't believe it. You did it. You stayed with me. These videos are long. Anyway, so like I said, subscribe, stick around. I have so many fun videos coming up. Other than that, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.